So guys, the next session is about, how do we, let's talk about it. Let's all sit together. We've got topics about AI that we can sort of, express and converse and share learnings from. So in the next hour, we're going to be sort of getting around line tables, and we're going to be bouncing ideas between one another. Feel free to sort of express your opinions about these topics that I'm going to be presenting to you. And these will be sort of championed by the Freshworks team. So could I please just get out Chris, just to sort of come out and have a look at the table. Sri, Matt, Sid, Abby, Tim, great, yourself guys, and also Renee. So the topics that we're going to be talking about during these interactive sessions is that we have 5 of them. Feel free to sort of see which ones sort of piques your interest and which are most relevant to what you're trying to achieve in your organisation and around sort of your AI issues. So the first one we have, which is going to be conducted by G, our CEO, is making customer experience the enterprise-wide mandate. Essentially, how do we ensure that whatever strategy we have when it comes to CX involves every part of the organisation? Second one, which is going to be run by Chris Wyman, is building the right omnichannel strategy. For obviously Chris and I, we speak to a lot of customers out there. We see a lot of organisations just go, you know what? I think we need emails and social media chat. I think we need to flip it around and you need to ask yourself, where are my customers coming from, and how can I build a better experience around those avenues?
Which table was that?
Yep. Don't I'll point it out for you. So Chris, can we have Chris?
Yep, right here.
So Chris, I think your table should be around the front somewhere.
Okay.
Yep. So we've got Matt over here, standing over there. Matt, just please find your table where we talk about CX metrics that truly matter. I think in any organisation, guys, we're obsessed with numbers. We've got to be data-driven, which is fantastic. But the last thing we want to do is concentrate on those mandatory metrics, looking at numbers that don't really yield any outcome. So Matt will be running that session. So Matt, just sort of put your hand up again, mate. Cool. Next we have Sid. He's our CRO, which will be introduced to you later on. He'll be talking about how do we empower employees to deliver superior experiences. In other words, how do you give your team ownership so they're more than willing to get, you know what, I have a customer here where I believe can deliver a wow, I'm going to go ahead with it, as opposed to going, all right, let me run a partner manager, let me check through the process document, and by the time that happens, there's no longer any wow. So Sid, can I just sort of get you to come forward and also come to your desk table? Number 5, we have Abby. Abby is sitting over there. He'll be talking about leveraging data and insights for delivering personalized experiences. In other words, how do we make these wow experiences somewhat predictable so we know what we're doing? Number 6, we have Sri. He'll be talking about identifying low-hanging AI opportunities and getting started. In other words, how can you sort of leverage what you've learned today and execute faster today? Number 7, we have Tim. Selling the first AI CX project internally and externally. How do you get buy-in for these initiatives going forward? Next person we have is Greg. He'll be talking about hiring and workforce management for strong AI CX talent. In other words, how do you make sure that you bring on the right team on board? And lastly, we have Pranay. He's sitting at the front here. He'll be talking about crafting new ROI measures to drive AI and CX initiatives. Once again, we don't want to do vanity metrics. We actually want to look at the root problem and then measure what's really going to matter. So guys, if we can sort of just have a look around the front tables, the first 4 and the back 4 with the topics. Guys, can we sort of hold up your white sheets, just so everyone will know what topic we're talking about?
Omnichannel, right here.
Omnichannel, I think we have omnichannel over there.
Omnichannel.
We got leveraging AI, with Sri over here. Renee is all about AI metrics. We have Matt over there, sitting on the far right.
Good.
We were talking about looking at attributes that matter. We've got Abby over here about how do we deliver predictable wow moments. Sid, we have Sid here, just sort of right in the front. He's talking about how do we give ownership to your team for the wow experiences. So guys, just put up your, sort of white piece of papers, so everyone knows what you're doing. I know there's going to be some popular ones and some less so, but the guys here are pretty good at sort of understanding the topics, and if worse comes to worse, they'll just crack a few jokes. Fantastic, guys. So guys, Renee is a lovely man. He's, that's okay, yep, we've got some people here. Okay. So guys, with the champions for each test, Matt, Abby, Sri, Renee, Sid, Chris, Abby. So guys, if we could sort of get everyone to sort of talk amongst themselves for about half an hour, and if you could then allocate one person from each table to just then give a quick presentation to write a group, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes each, and that should take us to the right time there, guys. So the team and I will be sort of floating around. If you've got any questions, anything you're unsure of, just let us know, and we'll be glad to help you out. So guys, enjoy. Speak up. There are no hidden microphones under the table, so there's not going to be any blackmailing. So guys, enjoy. And provide a bit of a 2 to 3 minute summary of the learnings from that table to a wider group.
The topic that we are going to talk about is leveraging data and insights for delivering personalized experiences. So I'm really excited to introduce Vasu here. Vasu is our customer and they are using Freshtest, Freshchat and Freshcaller. And she's going to share a wonderful story on how they integrated everything together, developed an external app to talk to the customer and use that information and data to improve the customer experience. Vasu, can you answer that question? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Abhinav, for calling me on stage and giving me opportunity to share our experience with Freshdesk that we have been. We've been trialing out Freshdesk and now we are customers of Freshworks. We've been trialing it for the last 6 months and there are so many milestones in the journey with the support team. So first of all, I would like to say the support team that they have got in Chennai, especially the technical resources, are awesome. We started our journey with a requirement to provide an omnichannel support system for our end users. So I'm from India. We are the MSP or the technology partner for Optus, in particular Optus business. We've got 6 products that we created for Optus use, and 6 of them are for Optus to consume, and 2 of them are for the Optus end users, like Optus business customers, like ANZ and Commonwealth Banks, who they can use. So the product that our OB customers use is called Fleet Manager, and we are the managed services partner for the Optus. Our product is white labeled as Optus, and the customers will use it, but if they have any issues, technology, whether it's a technical query, whether it's a service query, whether it's any device query, anything to do with the solution, then come back to India as a level 2 support. So, and our support model runs in 2 ways. One is the admin level support, where the customer itself they have an admin who take the calls and use us as a level 2 support. And the other support model is like we support the end user model, where the 1,000 employees in ANZ, straight away in India, if there is any issue with the device or manual Indian solution or device accessories issues, porting the SIMs or activating the SIM or barring the international roaming and all these service requests. So in order to maintain a unified experience for the customers, whether it's an admin level support or an end user support, we needed a platform which can unify or centralize all the requests coming from different channels. So for that, we have tried lots of products and we ended up with Freshdesk. So as Abhinav was saying, we use Freshdesk, Freshcaller, and Freshchat. In order to give that unified solution to the customers with the ease, we have created an end user app that we publish. We actually distribute this app to all our end users who are on managed services, and they receive it on their mobiles. And they also have a support portal, which is exactly what we have augmented features that are on app, which is a support portal. And these two, the portal and also the app, are integrated into Freshdesk for the raising tickets. So when I'll just give you a use case so you understand how it is orchestrated across all the products. So as a customer or an end user, if I have any issues clicking an app on my MDM solution, then I will go to this app and then I chat with the Freshdesk agent and say, I'm having issues with this click app, I cannot log into this. And the agent will quickly chat to them saying, have you done, is the VPN up and running? Is the device connected to the network? If yes, then that's fine. If not, they quickly create the ticket, and the ticket will be sent via API to our Freshdesk, and it comes back to the app in their hub where they can see the ticket has been created with the due date and the priority and the severity information. And once that's done, when we go and resolve the ticket, it will go back into the app with the status updates and all those things. And they can also, using the app, they can go straight and say, call this agent, and it routes to 1800 number, toll-free number that we have provided for the service. And Freshcaller helps us in the back end to identify the customer and identify if they are VIP customers, in which case they will be routed through a different priority queue. And if they are not the VIP customers, then they will be routed through the IVRs that they can land on, depending on which products they are using. So this was done at the Freshcaller level, but integrated back into that. And the Freshchat-wise, it's exactly the same. So using this app, we have integrated, and the best thing that from our experience is the way it can orchestrate, as I said, and streamline everything together. And how are we managing or using the insights that are coming from Freshdesk is, A, we categorize the tickets that are being raised by the customers and look at what are the majority of the issues are coming from. Whether it is password resets, or is it like a technical issue with an enterprise app that they're using, or is it something to do with the service, or is it something to do with the SIMs and the provisioning at the Optus levels. And we do use this as a quarterly review and go back to the customers. It could be a great cross-sell opportunity that we may have if they're having the same issue over and over again. Or it could just be a training issue for our agents, so we can go back to them and put them into the knowledge base and FAQs and give them that bit of training and education to the user to minimize the level of tickets that they are using. So with that, that's all I have put to share today. So thank you so much for all the technical support that you guys have been doing.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Matt?
Hi everyone, Matthew. I'm from Freshworks Melbourne, and our table we were discussing about CX metrics and which metrics really matter. We got Alex from Utopia who's just going to discuss the wonderful discussions we had on our table. Over to you, Alex.
Thanks a lot. I was asked to walk the plank from my table. I think we had a lot of debate on our table, and really probably more questions than we actually had answers. A lot of discussion around what the right approach might be, whether NPS alone is the right way to go. Obviously, some challenges around using NPS and whether it's enough detail or just a vanity metric. I think there was some consensus around just doing the basics, so understanding what your customer satisfaction and customer happiness levels are, looking at digital marketing space, where rates, click-through, and repeat purchase rate was a very key one for us. That's what we focus on at Booktopia. At the end of the day, CX has to have a commercial grounding. We want customers to come back and we want them to buy again. And we want them to have a good experience and we want them to do that over and over. But beyond the basic measures, we were looking at the churn rates and understanding that and churn analysis. Was a good example from our colleague at Vodafone over there, and the analysis and showing the impact of, say, inquiry response times and what that means for churn. So drawing linkages between the data, not just looking at a metric by itself. And also understand the challenges you have in your data, making sure it's consistent and clean, and also if you have to deal with specific issues like patient privacy, and we had some examples of that. So really understanding what's in your data and how you can use it, and how you can draw some insight between metrics. It's probably a good way to go.
Thank you. I got voted by my table because I tried my hardest. I did say putting an analyst up on stage, they're just going to say what they want to say anyway. But they did it anyway. So our topic was selling the first AI CX project internally and externally. And we, this will be really quick. We basically, most of the people at the table are either consultants or people who haven't actually done AI projects, right? But I guess we also agree this idea that, unless there's some business value or, street credit to the term AI, then don't call it an AI project, right? We're just solving a business problem. We're solving a customer problem, right? But that's all we're doing. There's a customer friction point. AI happens to be behind the solution. Now, some organisations, get a lot of, the Ubank example that I gave earlier, the gentleman who built that capability with IBM is now, is travelling the world, speaking on circuits, got a big promotion internally, etc., etc. So AI had some benefit and some street cred in that business, but in other businesses it doesn't. So it's a read of your own business, how much you sell this AI idea versus just, it's a CX initiative. And that was a real point that was made by everyone at the table that, you don't sell these by talking about cost savings. You sell them by talking about the customer benefits. Otherwise, what was our other thinking? I want to throw out some ideas.
Data.
Sorry?
The data.
Oh yeah, the inherent challenge of just getting the data right, having good, clean data to start with. That ultimately, when you're solving a business problem, you then look for data to solve that problem or data to throw at the AI. And having good, clean data is really important to start with. That's often something you have to start, and solve that problem before you even jump on the AI bandwagon at all. I think, anything else that I missed? I think that were the main things. So I have to head off now, so good luck everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Greg?
Yes, stuck with me again, sorry about that. No volunteers at that table. It's a very healthy table. We had healthcare service providers, F45, healthcare solutions, sort of half IT, half nurses, and a dental practice, and a gentleman looking to get into the industry, so it was nice. The interesting was the healthcare industry is arguably one of the ones that's really right up there for adoption of AI, because whilst it's a mission critical environment, and you have to get it right, you have to get those blood tests right, if someone dies, you better get it right. The argument is, well, even, let us embrace automation and have trust in it, have faith in it, put the measures in place, and away you go. Getting the balance right. The good part about the discussion with the healthcare service provider was they're looking for a skill set, looking for a specific technical resource. So the question is always, I want the IT skills and I want the domain expertise. Now that always makes it like looking for a needle in a haystack. And so to really boil it down as a general statement, I encourage people to look at the skill set first, skills and knowledge, technical skills, and then try and wrap the domain expertise around that skill within your company. The F45 was interesting. Everyone's probably familiar with F45. Great app. Again, a really good example of a company where it's working well. So it's really, they haven't got too many problems at all. It's just, are they willing to invest to get an extra technical resource on board? And so that, not too difficult. The gentleman at the end, looking to get into the industry, has the advantage of already being in the IT, having done some programming, so a base level interest and qualifications in the industry. So that's fantastic. A really good platform, because I mentioned I've seen some results that only about 85% of people who aren't from the IT industry who want to get into the AI or robotics industry and want to start out programming, solutions architecture, etc. Only about 15% tend to make the grade. So already got up to a good start, and so I recommended some robotics. It's free online robotics for a company called UiPath, one of the big three. Forest is number one, Gartner Quadrant, and Google Online for AI. So it was great. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, great. Pranay?
Hi everyone, Pranay here from Freshworks. So our topic. Hi everyone, Pranay here from Freshworks. Our topic for the day was how to empower employees to deliver superior customer experiences, and I have a handsome gentleman here, Jordan from F45 training, to kind of cover the findings.
Hey guys, so we sort of overviewed it all and came up with sort of 5 key points here. The first one is really defining the wow factor, like what you want, how you want your customers to be wow, like what they want, what they expect, but also I guess what you can deliver them. So defining that and sort of seeing how you can train your level 1s or your agents on how to achieve that. The next one was, like in training, so some of these overlap. So training and making sure we're focused on a customer focus sort of mindset rather than a process focus. Like, if you want to ensure that they have that thinking that they're helping the customer rather than sort of just filling a KPI. And then you've got so collaboration. So giving them the power to collaborate with other sort of more advanced agents or people that are more in the know of how to solve a problem. If they're able to seamlessly collaborate with these people, they can give a better response and solution to customers. The other one is context, like having the agents able to know, what's happened with this customer, like where have they come from, and maybe where they'll go after they finish with that support ticket. Another one is empowering them to make decisions. That's probably the biggest one. Whether it's giving them the customers freebies or giving the agents the ability to sort of change a setting or whatever without getting some approval from another agent, like without having to pass it on to a higher level. Giving them that power, I guess, just gives the customers, confidence that sort of one person, one agency is like taking care of the entire process. So that sort of wraps up that, I guess.
Thanks, Jed. Can I get Rajesh to come up?
Hey guys, my name is Brajesh, and the topic at our table is building the right omni-channel strategy. So yes, the topic is building the right omni-channel strategy. And so at the table, we had a bunch of customers: Fox Sports, Salman, Decathlon, and Room to Rio. And at our table, we were actually, most of the customers were on the verge of exploring an omnichannel strategy. And here with me, I have Travis from Decathlon. Decathlon have launched their first store in Australia, and they have over 1,000 stores globally. So let me hand over the mic to him.
Hi everyone. So we've been here in Australia for about 2 years now, 2.5 years. We opened our first store in Sydney in December last year. So we've been with Freshworks since we started over here, and we're using it to handle all our inquiries. We don't have a phone line in the store, so we're relying on email and chat communications in the store. We're big on the response time to our customers, because obviously in today's digital first sort of world, we're finding a lot of customers are they're exploring options online and making inquiries about products, about availabilities before they actually visit the store. So obviously Freshworks is helping us to manage all those inquiries about all the products that we sell. We've also just recently taken on the Fresh Chat feature to assist with this, to be more instant in our replies with and engagement with customers. And I think that's where we're gonna see some results and make some progress. So that's it.
Great, fantastic. Sri?
We kind of had a talkative table and most of it by me. So what I'd like to do is at least provide another person to speak. So this is Powell, who's actually implemented AI projects within companies, and I think he's best placed to actually discuss about identifying low-hanging fruits in AI projects and getting started with AI.
Thank you, Sri. So I joined the table because the topic of identifying opportunities or identify low-hanging fruits, it's I think very, very hot one and very important one for everyone. And I've been working in this space for 3 years and running community about RP and AI in Sydney, and we discussed it quite often. The reason that when I came with this topic, it was a few years ago when we started our journey in robotic process automation in the company. After about 4 months, our CEO came to me and said, can you find other opportunities for AI, broad AI, or RP in our company, and can you do it by the end of the day? So I had only about 3 hours, 4 hours to figure out what opportunities are there. And I came from agile background, so I quickly put up together the canvas, the way we can try to map some opportunities based on some process characteristics. We did this exercise and it went extremely well. We identified a pipeline for the next year, what we can do about it. It was quite accurate pipeline. And then I published this article, internet, LinkedIn, and many companies adopted this one. One of the topics was that actually quite often you don't need AI to succeed. You can successfully do with simple things. But AI helps you to change your mindset, to look at the different things, and just to see what can be applied. And quite often, very simple AI can be applied. So we have our discussion about what types of opportunities in AI exists. I see the 3 main types where AI can be applied. And the one is AI applied to process what's called semi-structured data, to extraction data from different forms, from different documents. The second big area and the first one is about 70-80% of AI use cases I saw so far was about extraction of some data. The second
case of using AI is processing unstructured data, like voice calls or emails or chats. And today we talked a lot about how to apply chatbot and where it can be successful. And the third area where AI could be applied is to guide the decisions. And I think it was one of the last steps that Girish mentioned today. So, what we found in our discussion that when you apply AI, it might be, the hard AI might be sometimes a bit expensive. Summarize our discussion on the table, I can say that with our current technologies now, everything is possible to do, but not everything is feasible to do. So the main idea is to find what is feasible. So what we discussed, that sometimes you just need to think outside of the box or outside of actually your company systems and see what other systems can provide to you. And for example, Google Analytics, so we discussed that on your website you can apply Google Analytics and see what are the main questions our customers coming from and key phrases. And then you can adjust your website to cover for these cases, which gives you a better customer experience. We also found that, for example, for marketing campaign, instead of trying to figure out in your own database, you can rely on what Facebook has, and you can reach to the potential customers on Facebook. You apply a simple link there and get a lot of traction out of this one. We also found that with chatbots, the simple use of chatbots is to provide questions to answers to frequently asked questions. And that's probably the fastest way to achieve some ROIs, especially with using your advanced support. So that's an important case to do. But with chatbots, we also discussed that you need to be very careful with what experience it can provide to you, because the bad implemented chatbot can actually ruin your experience, and you don't want to put it on the website. So it should be very good tested, and probably you should say that this is just a helper for you. It's not like replacement of an agent. It's just a helper, and always you have this button to talk to a customer. But in any channel you should have it. Yeah, well, I hope that summarizes our discussion.
Fantastic, everyone. I know it's always a bit tricky to sort of come up to the front stage and to present. So, thank you very much for each person presenting this. Now, without further ado, sort of getting towards the end of the day and getting approaching their lunch, I'd like to introduce you to the next person who'll be making a special announcement, an exclusive. This person runs enterprise marketing for Freshworks. I actually met this person back in China about a couple of years ago. He's probably one of the most versatile people I've met, and someone who has really a knack for the detail. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Renee, who'll be launching a special for this event.
I know what all of you are thinking by this time. Like, if I had a shot every time I heard the word AI, I'd be in rehab by now. So, just getting on a lighter note, I know this is the last one for the day. So, I think this is something that we were all thinking about. Was kind of, like it is definitely like something that's top of mind for a lot of people today. So, we wanted to understand kind of where Australia as a country is in its AI journey. So we commissioned some internal research. We hired a third-party agency called Census-Wide to kind of to survey 500 business leaders so that we could kind of understand the findings, understand what's hot, what people are thinking about, what industry sectors are interested in AI adoption, how they are thinking about it, what are the challenges, so these findings were definitely interesting to us, and so what we thought is we'll share these findings with all of you over here today. So we've kind of made a short report out of these findings. So I'd like to not take up too much time, but I wanted to share kind of 2 or 3 important or at least interesting takeaways that I found out of this report, right? So this is, by the way, this is information that we are going to take back and use. It will be informing our product direction as well, right? So the first one, so this is kind of validation for what we were thinking about earlier. I think Girish mentioned this earlier today that the first place that all AI initiatives are headed towards is the contact center. He said that AI is invading the contact center, right? So our survey report said that this is the top draw for all the investment. So that was just validation for what we were looking at. I think the second one was a little surprising to me. So the second finding that we had was that 2 out of 3 Australian organizations have already dabbled in AI initiatives for customer experience in some form. Some of them piloting, some of them already deployed successfully. The third kind of finding, which was something I definitely did not expect, was that small and medium businesses, SMBs, were ahead in terms of adoption compared to large enterprises, right? So again, in this particular market, I think especially with larger enterprises, they deal with larger, slower systems, slower moving process changes, data security issues, but it's small businesses who are actually moving faster and who are ahead of the curve in terms of trying new things, who are trying to adopt these new initiatives. I think the fourth one is that obviously a lot of people think of AI initiatives as a way to reduce costs, but an interesting finding for us was that a lot of this is driven by customer demand or driven by the need to and the want to improve customer experience. So I had this conversation with Alex from Booktopia this week. So Alex, would you mind if I shared a short kind of story from what he said? So I think it goes back to, so Alex has a team of, I by the way was surprised by kind of the scale of operations they have and how they run it with such a small team. I'm sure all of you know about Booktopia and kind of love the organization and what they do. So they have a really small support team. They support customers not just in Australia but in other regions as well. So I think they started by supporting customers in Australia Monday to Friday business hours. They extended that to extended hours Monday to Friday, and the reason they are looking at AI and chatbots is because they want to make it 24/7, 365 days a year, right? So it's driven by customer demand and not just cost reduction, right? And I think the other thing is if you look at the size of the company, the number of employees, I don't think Booktopia would also qualify as a large enterprise, but the fact that Alex and team are looking at AI initiatives is again kind of validation for what we saw in our survey findings. So I think there's a lot of exciting nuggets of information and takeaways over there. So without further ado, I'd like to ask Jeff to invite anyone to inaugurate the report.
Fantastic. Sid, could I please get you to come up? Sid is the CRO for Freshworks. He's an individual with over 20 years of global experience in the IT industry. Could I please also have Shri, G, Greg, all come up to the stage. Sid, it'd be great if you could sort of obviously cut the ribbon and prepare it and hand out one of those documents to each member. And it'd be great if we could get a photo with you for as well. Fantastic, man. I think we need a bigger ribbon. Okay, great. Yeah, so yeah, you guys can sort of just distribute it around. So guys, thank you very much for attending today. So now brings us to the close of this event. We have lunch served at the back. You know, I was sort of thinking about, you know, what is the best way to sort of summarize this event today? You know, we talked about ownership, we talked about delivering cloud, we talked about initiatives of how do we actually deliver AI to the organization. AI can be a very buzzword. I think in the media recently it's sort of perhaps being misinterpreted, you know, perhaps a misconception about what it is. But hopefully today, guys, you will sort of had a grasp of what AI can do for you. So I think for me, you know, I've got just sort of one takeaway. You know, when you do go back to your organizations, when you do speak with people around you, you know that AI is going to transform the world. I think G had a fantastic slide where initially it was software eating the world. Now you have AI eating everyone else. So I think the key thing to really ask yourself is that, you know, what are your problems facing your business? You know, what are these challenges that are facing you? And then ask yourself, can we then leverage AI to solve these problems? And I think when you sort of look at that from a fundamental point of view, I think you're really going to grasp the power of what AI can do for you guys today. So guys, you know, once again, you know, thanks for coming. It is a Friday. We've got some lunch for you. Please enjoy. Please stay around. You know, have a bit of a chat. Have a bit of a laugh. You know, we are the Freshworks. So guys, you know, thank you very much and enjoy yourself.